And now it's time for a Q&A from you, the viewers, and a bunch of you wrote in regards to my review of that Asus NovaGo laptop running with the Snapdragon ARM processor. This was the first computer I looked at that was running Windows on an ARM chip, and it was running it better than I expected, but the performance for the cost wasn't working for me, as it wasn't for many of you either. And a lot of you wrote in also asking if it could run Linux, and I don't know. I think it probably could if somebody's got a distribution that works. I couldn't find it, so let me know down in the comments below if there is one out there somewhere. I'm probably going to get rid of that laptop soon and try to recoup some of my investment in it. But if you have something that you know of that exists right now, we can try to do a follow-up video on it. I would imagine we would see decent performance. We see really nice performance out of these Rockchip-based ARM Chromebooks, so I would guess a Snapdragon processor like this would do better. So let me know, and I'll try to do something before I get rid of the laptop. But again, I think this is just not worth the money right now, and I hope this doesn't blow up the Snapdragon ARM project before it could really get started. They really chose the wrong chip here to launch their first round of consumer laptops. The battery life is certainly nice, but the performance that you get out of these things for that price just isn't going to appeal to many consumers, and I think those that do purchase it may end up returning it because of those issues, especially when you can spend the same money and get like an i5-based machine with tremendously better performance, even though the battery life may not be there with it. It reminds me, and many of you, a lot of the Windows RT debacle from a number of years ago. When Windows 8 launched, they came up with these ARM-based tablets that they said was running Windows, but it wouldn't run a lot of Windows applications. It had to be in the Metro interface, and it had to be running on the ARM architecture for it to work. What they've done now with these new ARM-based Windows laptops is allow the Intel software to run, provided it's 32-bit. But again, the performance issues come into play here, but it is much more usable than these RT machines ever were. And the other problem the RT machines ran into is that Intel was really focused on mobile technology at that point in time, and they came up with those really awesome Atom processors that were performing better than these ARM equivalents were at the time, and it could run the entire library of Windows software. It may not have run every application well, but it could run everything that you threw at it because it was a true Intel chip versus something that was kind of crippled like these were. So that was their last attempt, and hopefully they get something going here with an alternative architecture, but they really got to get the performance going. It also reminded me a bit of the transition from PowerPC, or to PowerPC, that Apple made in the early 90s, because they had a similar conundrum where they moved from these standard 68,000 chips to a RISC-based PowerPC processor that was a completely different architecture. And Apple knew their customers wanted to run their current library of software, so they had a really nice, seamless emulator that worked on these things from day one. There was a bit of a performance hit on these, but as applications got written for PowerPC, they saw a big performance boost over the equivalently priced 68,000 device that they may have had before, and it was really well done there. And again, I was very impressed with how well Microsoft implemented the Intel emulation on ARM, but they're just not doing it with the right processor. So hopefully we'll see more from ARM in the future on Windows, but right now I definitely do not recommend buying it. But if you do know of a Linux implementation that we can try, I'm happy to give it a shot. Let me know down in the comments below.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters of the Black Eyed and Blues Music Hour podcast: Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.